So now we're back to Godot docs, getting started. Our first 2D game, the main game scene, all right? But before we get into that, there's something over here. Let's check it out. There's a couple of things actually. Let me do this. So over here on the mob thing, we've got this configuration warning, okay? And it says size changes to rigid body 2D will be overridden by the physics engines when running. And we need to change size in children collision shapes instead, all right? So when we run this right now, let's run it. We can see it's this big. So let's, let me get a couple of instances of this open. And we're going to use these to measure the width, the height of this thing. So let's get one like that. Let's get this one and also do it like this. All right. And we're going to come over here to this thing, open that up. Then we'll get these two instances up as well. And we will measure the width of it like this. Pardon me, the height of it like this. So let's put this one on the top edge and this one, pardon me, that one on the bottom edge and this one on the top edge. Just like that. And we're going to come back over here and we're going to do what it says. So we know that this is what it looks like. This is the size of it right now. But when we do this, we're going to go to collision shape 2D, right? And we're going to do the scale 75%, so 0.75, pardon me, 0.75 right there. And then we'll come over here to mob and we'll change this to, pardon me, let's change it. Let's just reset it right here, right? So now the thing goes away. And if we run it again, let's do this, run it again with a little F6 action. Not with that one though, hold on. Let's get a different one up. Like with this one, and we get these instances up again, we can see it's the same size. So yeah, we're just switching it from that way, from the way we had it where we were changing the scale on mob to change the scale on collision shape 2D because it's on rigid body. If it was the other way, like over here on player, it's not a big deal. We can do it. We can change it on transform over here. What? Animated sprite 2D transform. Oh. Okay, we should have done that. We should have done that in the first place. Okay. Well, maybe I had it on the wrong one. Whatever. Okay. Maybe it should have been on this one. I don't know. But anyway, there we go. What if, okay, let's take it off of this one. Let's take it off of this one and put it onto this one. 0.75. Okay, now let's come back over here. Get this off the screen. Let's run it again. We still got those instances up, right? Let's do F6. Let's get these instances up one more time. Nah, okay, so doing it on Sprite 2D. Yeah, doing it here is not the move. We got to do it on collision shape. It turns out. All right, so let's take it off of there again. Let's do an F8 to quit the program. Let's just do Control Z until we got it over here. Run it one more time. Get the things out with the instances of this out. And yeah, okay, so that's good. So yeah, on rigid body, that's what we do is we put it on collision shape, while on the other one, this was Area 2D. On Area 2D, we put it on animated sprite. Okay, cool. So there's that. There's that. So let's get back to the actual lesson. So yeah, the main game scene. Now it's time to bring everything we did together into a playable game scene. we're going to create a new scene and add a node named main. Okay, so let's start with that. And the reason we're using node instead of node 2D is because this node will be a container for handling game logic. It does not require 2D functionality itself. Okay, so let's get rid of this too. And let's make a new one, node named main. So let's do scene, new scene, other nodes, node. That's going to be the top one. And then we're going to call it main. There we go. All right, so now that we got that, we're going to click the instance button represented by a chain link icon, and we're going to select our saved player.text scene. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Let's click this and then player.text scene right here. Okay, cool. What else? Okay, let's go to the next thing. So now we're going to add the following nodes as children of main and name them as shown. So timer, Mark2D. Let's do that. And then we'll name them after that. So let's go main, control A, timer. All right. There we go. Main, control A, timer. Main, control A, timer. And then marked something. Let's push control A, marked, maybe. Marker2D. There we go. All right. So let's rename them mob timer, score timer, start timer. All right. Mob timer, score timer. Score timer. And then this one's start timer. Start timer. All right, and then the last one is going to be Marker2D named start position. All right, cool. Start position right here. Start position. Okay. Let's go back. So now that we've done that, we're going to set the wait time property of each of the timer nodes as follows. Values are in seconds, all right? So we'll set the wait time property of the timer nodes to 0.5, 1, and 2, right? In order. So timer. Over here, mob timer. Wait time, okay. So we'll put 0.5 right here. Score timer will be 1. Start timer is going to be 2. All right. And then, in addition, we're going to set set the one shot property of start timer to on. The one shot of start timer. Start timer, one shot to on. There we go. All right. And set the position of the start position node to 240 by 450. The position of the start position. All right, so let's go to start position. Position is going to be in transform. 240, 480. Was that what it was? 240, 450. All right. So 240, 450. Okay. So now we've done that. Spawning mobs. All right. So the main node will be spawning new mobs, and we want them to appear at random locations on the edge of the screen. So we're going to add a path2D node, a path2D node named mob path as a child of main. All right, so let's do main control A path2D. All right, so main control A path2D right here. All right, create it. And we were going to call it mob path. All right. We'll call it mob path. Mob path. Boom. All right. So the next thing we're doing, when we select path 2D, we will see some buttons at the top of the editor. Okay, we'll look at the buttons. Mob path. Let's go to 2D. So control F1. And so, yeah, we've got these buttons up here now. Because when we don't select it, there's no buttons. All right, so there they are. All right, so now that we got that, we're going to select the middle one, add point, and draw the path by clicking to add the points at the corners shown. To have the points snap to the grid, we're going to make sure to use grid snap. We're going to make sure use grid snap and use smart snap are both selected. So these two things right here. These options can be found to the left of the lock button. So use the lock button to the left of them, appearing as a magnet next to some dots and intersecting lines respectively. True. All right, so let's do that. I forgot I was recording. What? Anyway, I forgot I was recording. All right. So, important. We're going to draw the path in clockwise order. All right. Or our mobs will spawn pointing outwards instead of inwards. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We'll select this. We'll do the snaps, and then we'll draw it in clockwise order. All right. So let's do that real quick. Let's get these snaps going and then add. All right. So we're going to add the first one here. And then we're going to just click this intersection between this red line and this very light outline of this view, whatever, this display area. This corner here, then this corner here. You can see it barely. And then this corner here. All right. And then after we're done with that, what are we doing? After placing 0.4 in the image, we're going to click the close curve button. So that's going to be this one right here. Hold on. 4 and 5. Yeah, that one right there. So let's come over here and close the curve with this thing. And let's also take these off because we don't need them anymore. I just think the grid is just so annoying, honestly. But anyway, there we go. So now that we've got that drawn, let's come back over here and see what we're doing next. So now that the path is defined, we're going to add a path_follow_2D node as a child of mob path and name it mob spawn location. So path_follow_2D, that's a child of mob path, and call it this. So let's take this, let's copy this. Let's go to mob path, that's what we're on now, Control A, and path_follow_2D, that's going to be right under this path2D. So let's select this and create it. All right. And then we're going to rename it whatever we copied. And there it is, mob spawn location. There we go. So now that we've done that, this node will automatically rotate and follow the path as it moves. So we can use it to select a random position and direction along the path. All right. So yeah, we're going to select whatever. It's going to just go randomly around here and select a random position. And the direction is always going to be pointing inward until we change it to something else for right now. And we can see the little arrows showing the path as well. So let's come over here and the scene should look like this right here. Let's go look at it. And it does. Look, there it is. All right. So now that we've got that done, pardon me, we're going to do this main script. So let's come over here and it says, hold on. First, we're going to add a script to main. Okay, there we go. So we're going to add this script by getting this add script button right here. Boom. All right. Cancel, actually. Make sure main's selected. Then we're going to add the script. Boom. Main. There we go. Create it. So this is going to be extending node. Let's go check this stuff out, actually. At the top of the script, we use export var mob scene packed scene to allow us to choose the mob scene we want to instance, all right? So let's take this right here, copy it, and then let's just drop it off. Let's just do a Control A because we're going to add this stuff later. We're not even going to add a process, but yeah. Because since this is main, we don't have a process in it, right? So we're going to do this extends node, and then all this. We're going to have the export var mob scene pack scene. As we can see, the mob scene shows up over here, and then var score right there, just for later when we start counting up the score. All right. So we're going to click on the main node, and we will see the mob scene property under the the inspector under main.gd. We saw that. So we can assign this property's value. Yeah, we can assign this property's value in two ways. We can drag mob.text scene from the file system doc and drop it in the mob scene property, or we can click the down arrow next to empty and choose load and then select mob.text scene. All right. So I don't really want to go through all this list. So let's come over here to mob scene, and we'll go new packed scene. No, load. We're going to go load over here, and then we can see mob.text scene right there. Open that up, and there we go. All right, cool. So that's where that is right there, the mob scene. Cool. We could have came down here and just dragged it. Actually, let's do a control V. A control Z, I mean. Came to mob.text scene and grabbed it and dropped it in here. It done the same thing. But, you know, sometimes you can't find it that easy. Whatever. Anyway, so let's go. Next, we're going to select the instance of the player scene under main node in the scene doc. Select the instance of the player scene under main node in the scene doc. Instance of player scene right here. Okay. Now what? And then we're going to access the node doc on the sidebar. We'll make sure to have the signals tab selected in the node doc. All right. So node doc, signals tab. Okay. So instead of groups, signals. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. So let's go to the next part. So we did that. So we should see a list of the signals for the player node. List of the signals for the player node. Yes, of course. There it is right there. Hit. All right. Find and double click the hit signal in the list, or right click it and say connect. All right. So let's double click hit. Connect on player hit. There we go. So now that we've got that, this will open the dialog. Oh yeah. And then we got to rename this game over. So let's undo that. Let's get this, I guess, disconnect. Let's double click this again, and then let's call it game over. Game _ over. All right, then connect it. All right, so now we've got a game over connection. All right. And we are aiming to have the hit signal emitted from player and handled in the main script, okay? We're going to add the following code to the new function, as well as new game function, as well as a new game function that will set everything up for new game. Okay, so let's take this. Let's highlight all of 7 and 6, and then drop it off like this. And there we go. Ooh. How are we going to know when to connect nodes and when not? And then we realize, oh yeah, they didn't even have to do this much. So let's keep going. So now we're going to connect the timeout signal of each of the timer nodes. Start timer. Okay. So we'll connect the timeout signal of each of the timer nodes. Start timer, score timer, mob timer to the main script. Connect the timeout signals. Mob timer, timeout. Connected. Okay. Score timer, timeout. Connected. All right. Start timer, timeout. Said timeout. Connected. All right. So those are connected now. All 3 of those. So let's come back over here. And then we're going to add this to score timer and this to start timer. So let's take this, go over here, score timer, start timer. Let's select all of 25 up to 20 and drop this off like this. All right. So now this is how this stuff looks. Let's come back over here and look at it. All right. So the score timer is going to be incremented by a score of 1 right there. Yeah. And then start timer is going to start the other 2 timers. The start timer is going to start mob timer and score timer. Okay. 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 That makes sense. All right. So in on mob timer timeout, we're going to create a mob instance and pick a random starting location on the path 2D and set the mob in motion. All right. So that's what they're explaining all this code right now. So let's get all this code right here on mob timer timeout. Take that and let's get on mob timer timeout. Let's select 17 and all of 16, all of 17 and all of 16. Drop it off like this. All right. So now we've got all this stuff and they're explaining it with this paragraph. All right. So here's this first part. On mob timer timeout, we're going to create a mob instance. So that's what this is. Var mob equals mob scene dot instantiate. All right. We're going to pick a random starting location along the path 2D. So that's what this is. Var mob spawn location equals mob path or mob spawn location. What? Let's do mob spawn location. That's the name of it, isn't it? Mob path, mob spawn location. Well, I guess it's both of them. I wonder what that's all about. I wonder what that's all about. Will it work? That's the other question. Will it work? All right, so let's go back and looking at the thing. All right, so that's going to pick a random starting location. So this will do a random. As we can see here, it's the mob spawn location equals mob path or mob spawn location. So it's the path that we drew, and then mob spawn location dot progress ratio equals random float. All right. So we're creating this progress ratio right here. Okay. Or we're adding this progress ratio to mob spawn location, and then we're going to use it down here. Okay, good, cool. That's what it is. Okay. So yeah, we're instantiating, we're making this, and then we're doing this to it, getting a random float. Okay. And then var direction. All right, let's go to the next part. And then that's going to set the thing in motion, I guess. Okay. The path follow 2D node will automatically rotate as it follows the path. Huh? Okay. Yeah. So we will use that to select the mob's direction as well as its position. So we're going to have var direction equals mob spawn location dot rotation plus pi over 2. And we're going to go over why pi just after this. Okay. So it's automatically going to be looking in. What? Oh no. Okay, so the direction, and unless we do this, the direction is always going to be, let's go to this, is always going to be whichever way the path is, right? So we're going to set it with that little pi thing to where instead of looking this way all the time, it's looking inside. Okay, so there we go. Let's come back over here. Okay, so that's what this is. This is setting it perpendicular to the path direction. All right, let's just read the comment. Actually, let's read the whole thing. So this is going to automatically rotate as it follows the path. So we will use that to select the mob's direction as well as its position. When we spawn a mob, we'll pick a random value between 150 and 250. Okay, so okay, all of this is the direction, right? So where the direction is going to be perpendicular to start with right here. And then mob position is going to be spawn location dot position. So this thing we created here dot position, okay? And then we're going to get direction plus equals a random float that's in the range of this here, negative pi over 4 to pi over 4. So whatever that is. And then we're going to choose a velocity for the mob. So the velocity, we'll get into the velocity in a second. All right. So let's go back to this. No. Let's go back up here. All right. So yeah, so when the mobs spawn, we'll pick a random value between 150 and 250 for how fast each mob will move. And it would be boring if they were all moving the same speed. Okay. So yeah, this velocity, it's going to be vector 2, a range, a random float between 150 and 250. Okay. So that's going to be the speed. It's going to be a vector 2 of that. And then, what? Something 0. Huh? Vector 2, this random number in 0. Okay. 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 I guess that's just how it is. It's always going to be moving positive along the X. All right. So no matter which direction it is, the X is always going to be whatever the direction it's heading. All right. So there's that. And then mob linear velocity equals velocity dot rotated direction. Velocity. So it's going to be this vector 2, whatever this vector 2 is, dot rotated, and we're going to rotate it in wherever the direction is, which is this right here. Okay. And then we're going to note that a new instance must be added to the scene using add child. All right. So we've got this add child mob thing right here. This is going to actually put the mob. This is going to actually spawn the mob by adding it to the main scene. So that's what that is. Okay. So here's the pi thing. So here's what's important. Why pi? In functions requiring angles, Godot uses radians. Remember radians? Not degrees. Pi represents a half turn in radians. So instead of 180 degrees, it's pi. Okay? So this is going to be 90 degrees. This pi divided by 2. And this pi divided by 4 is going to be 45 degrees. So it's going to be 90 degrees total, 45 in one direction, 45 in the other. That's what this means. Okay? So if we're more comfortable working with degrees, we'll need to use this conversion. So this is easier, in my opinion, if we just understand that pi is a half a turn. Pi equals 180 degrees. If we can understand that, we can deal with that, because it's basically just going to be like fractions. We're just going to be like doing fractions of half turns. Anyway, so, or multiples of half turns, whatever you want to say. All right. So testing the scene. We're going to test the scene to make sure everything's working. So to do that, we're going to add this new game call to ready. So let's get ready. All right. And we're going to add ready at the bottom. Actually, let's add it in the middle. Let's put ready up here at the very top. How about that? Func ready new game. How about that? All right. So now that we've got that, let's also assign main as our main scene, the one that runs automatically when the game launches. We'll press the play button and select main.text scene when prompted. All right. So let's come over here. And remember, F5 is play. So we'll press F5 and we can say no main scene has been selected or defined. Select one, select current, since we're on main right now. Ooh, actually, no, how about that? Not that. Oh, no. Yeah. Select current. All right. And we're going to save it as main.text scene while we're at it. Boom. All right, so it got saved, and there we go. And would you look at that? We got some mobs on the screen. We died. Oh, where did we go? Is that the size they need to be though? Huh. Let's see what happens if we change the size back over on the mob scene to this one here. Let's go over to inspector. 0.75. Let's go over to a collision and take this off. And let's run it. No, they're the same size. Ah. All right. Let's get out of there. And then once you die, once you disappear, they stop showing up. That's cool. I like that. Let's undo 1, 2 times and run it again. Let's see if these are bigger. Are those bigger? Those are much bigger, aren't they? So yeah, let's undo what I said. Run it again. No, those are the same size, aren't they? No, I can't tell. Actually, okay, how about this? Let's undo that. Let's take that out of there. Let's do it to animated sprite. Let's say 0.75 here. And then let's take it off of main. Okay, so the thing went away. And then let's run it again. Yeah, there we go. Look. That's much better. Okay, good. Great. Fantastic. Okay, so that was the problem. See, because when we were doing this one on the video, it had us do it without looking at a prompt. So yeah, I did it wrong. But yeah, just slap that thing on, slap the 0.75 on animated sprite 2D, and then we're in business, right? So yeah, so there's that. Let's come back over here. Tip, if we already set another scene as main scene, like by pressing F5 and enter by accident at some point, we can right click the main.text scene in the file system doc and set it and select set as main scene. Okay. So we should be able to move the player around, see mobs spawning, and see the player disappear when hit by a mob. We can. So when we're sure everything is working, we're going to remove the call to new game from ready and replace it with pass. Okay. Main. Let's take this and say pass. All right. Let's try to run it again. Nothing. Okay. Well, the pass definitely did that. All right. So let's come over here. And what's our game lacking? Some user interface. So in the next lesson, we're going to add a title screen and display the player's score. All right. So there's that. First things first, I actually used this one because I didn't, when I was in rehearsal, I didn't do what this is talking about. So if you guys are having problems with this thing, just go through this. You'll probably find an answer. But remember, another thing about it is we're at the point in our coding careers to where we can't expect help. You know what I'm saying? We have to try to find it ourselves somehow, some way. Because who can help you? Can I? I've got to help myself. You know what I'm saying? So there we go. So let's go to the next one. All right. So now we're up onto heads up display, and we'll see you next time.